Alright, hello everybody, I'm Moulberry, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can use NEU in order to create custom skull models. So before I get started, if you want to try this out for yourself or you want to use someone else's custom skull pack, you need to make sure you are using the correct NEU version. So make sure you join my Discord, discord.gg/Moulberry, and go to the NEU pre-releases channel. And you want to find, and you want to be using at least NEU pre-21.2, which obviously I haven't released yet, but pre-21.2 if you want to follow along with this tutorial. So make sure you get that. All right, so what do the models look like? If I open up my resource packs here and enable the one that I made earlier, give it a second to load, you'll see that it replaces the Superior Dragon helmet that I'm wearing with this Spartan helmet over here. So it replaces it while I'm wearing it, which is not normally possible with Optifine if you're wondering. It replaces it in my inventory and it replaces it when I hold it. So basically it replaces the skull texture everywhere. Now another disclaimer, if you do not know how to make custom models, unfortunately I'm not going to show you that in this tutorial. You probably want to head over to the PAX HQ Discord, which will be a link to in the description if you want to learn how to create textures and do all of that. I'm just showing you how to structure the file so that it'll actually work here. All right, so let's get started. So to begin with, let's jump into our resource packs here. And let's go ahead and delete this over here. Let's create a new skull pack. Then I'm going to go ahead and copy over the pack MC meta and just pack.png. This is just normal texture pack stuff. If you know how to make a texture pack, you should know more than me how that works. And then create another folder called assets, obviously. And then in here, you're going to create a new folder called not enough updates. And then another folder inside this called custom skull textures. Perfect. And now we need to create a new text document like so. Open up the text document in here, do Control-Shift-S, select all files, and I want to call this custom skull.json. So this is the configuration file. This is how you specify all of the different custom skulls. This file has to be named like this and it has to be in this directory. So let's go over that again. It has to be inside assets, not enough updates, custom skull textures like I've written here, custom skull.json. If it's in a differently named file, it won't work. Okay, so let's go ahead and open this bad boy up. Actually, before that, let me go ahead and copy over the model, which was made by Imperial, if you're wondering. Now, this model can be anywhere inside this folder here. It can be in the root directory like so, or if we wanted to, we can create a test folder. It doesn't really matter what it's called. Perfect, showing that in there. I just copied it, okay. Although, one thing to note is you've got to make sure that the actual texture is correct. So here, this says Australia, so we have to replace this with test folder. So yeah, make sure the path to the texture is correct. Okay, and now we can get to the fun stuff. So, how do you set up custom skull.json to replace it with this model? What you need to do, let's go ahead and disable that real quick, is once you load up the game with the new version of NEU, you need to run the command NEU pack dev. I disabled it there, let's enable it again. And that should enable pack developer mode. And what this will show is it will show the skull ID when you hover over them. So if you look down there at the bottom, NEU pack dev info, there's internal name, skull UUID, skull texture link. So you can play around with that. But what we're looking for is that skull UUID. So if we click M, we should be able to copy that. And now we have the UUID of the skull. Now another thing to note is that this is a JSON file here, this custom skull configuration file. You need to essentially follow this how I write it. If the JSON is invalid, it will not work. So to start off, we need these opening and closing braces like so. And we need to put in some quotes. The exact number of spaces you add doesn't matter, by the way. We paste in that skull ID, put a colon, opening bracket, closing bracket like so. And now we want to replace the model. So we'll say model like so. And then, where did we put it again? It was in test folder, right? Yeah, it was in test underscore folder. And the name of the model was Spartan. So we'll do /Spartan. And what this will do is it will replace the skulls with this UUID with this model. So now if we go ahead and save this, and we load up this resource pack, which you can see over there, new skull pack, we should see, fingers crossed, if I mess this up once, there we go. It replaces the Superior Dragon helmet here with that. Now, say I wanted to replace this elephant instead. If I click M again to copy this skull UUID, let's just close the resource pack really quickly, and we can go ahead and change this UUID. Okay, let's re-equip it. There we go. As you can see, the Superior helmet is no longer getting retextured, but the elephant in our inventory is getting retextured. All right, now suppose you don't want to have a custom model. Suppose you just want to have a texture. Well, that is also possible. What you can do is you can, instead of specifying a model, you can actually specify a texture like so. And so let's jump back into our skull pack over here. And just next to here, I'm going to add this elephant PNG, copy it over, and then I'm just going to point this texture to elephant like so. Again, if this was in a file, if this was in test folder, we would have to do test folder like that. But since it is in the root directory, we call it, we just need to specify elephant like so. And now if we go ahead and reload, is there a key button to reload the pack? It's like F3T. There we go, F3T. And so as you can see, now it's no longer using a custom model, but it's simply replacing the Superior Dragon helmet texture with this elephant texture. Now, the nice thing here is that obviously you can make the texture as highly detailed if you want. So if you want to have 32x, 64x skull textures, you can use this to do that. So that is pretty cool. And that is pretty much it. Now, another thing to note with the custom skull here is that if you want to have multiple stuff, you need to make sure that there's a comma between it like so. And if you want to make sure that the JSON is valid, what you can do is you can go ahead and copy the entire thing and go to a JSON validator and paste it in here. So yeah, just search up JSON. I'm using JSON format and a curious concept. Click process, and if it's as long as it's valid, it will work. Also, make sure you turn off fixed JSON. Okay, so that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, you can probably ask in either my Discord or the PAX HQ Discord. And yeah, have fun. See ya.